Hare Krishna. Narayanam namaskritya Naram chaiva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Tato jayam mudirayet Nashta prayeshva bhadresu Nityam bhagavat sevaya Bhagavati uttama sloke Bhaktir bhavati naishtike Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Canto 3, Chapter 14, Pregnancy of Deity in the Evening. Shri Sukha Uvacha Nishamya koshara vinupavanitam Hare katham karana sukharatmanah Punaha saprapacha tamudyatanjalir Nachati tripto vidura dhritavratah.
Wonderful. Punamataji, would you like to?
Dekadev Goswami said,
Good.
after hearing from the great sage Maitreya about the Lord's incarnation as Varaha, Vidura, who had taken a vow, begged him with folded hands to please narrate further transcendental activities of the Lord, since he, Vidura, did not yet feel satisfied.
Wonderful.
Vidura uvacha Tanevatu muni shrestha Harina yagna murtina Adi daityo hiranyaksho Hata iti anususruma.
So Sri Vidur said, O chief amongst the great sages, I have heard by successions the Hiranyaksha, the original demon, was slain by the same form sacrifices the personality of Godhead, the Lord bore.
Tasya kshodharatah kshonim swadam stragrena leelaya Daityarajasya cha brahman kashmadhetorabhumriddhaha.
What was the reason, O Brahman, for the fight between the demon king and Lord Boar while the Lord was lifting the earth as his pastime?
Shraddhadhanaya bhaktaya bruhitaj janma vishtaram Vrishena tripyati manaha param kautuhalam hime.
My mind has become very inquisitive, and therefore I am not satisfied with hearing the narration of the Lord's appearance. Please, therefore, speak more and more to a devotee who is faithful.
Maitreya uvacha sadhu vira tvaya prishtam avatara katham hareh yatvam prichashi martyanam mrityupasa vishatanim.
The great sage Maitreya said, O warrior, the inquiry made by you is just befitting a devotee, because it concerns the incarnation of the personality of Godhead. He is the source of liberation from the chain of birth and death for all those who are otherwise destined to die.
ययोतानपदः पुत्रो मुनिनागितयार्भकः मृत्योः कृत्वैव मूर्ध्न्याङ्घ्रिम् आरुरोह हरेर्पदम्.
By hearing these topics from the sage Narad, the son of King Uttanpad, Dhruv was enlightened regarding the personality of Godhead, and he ascended to the abode of the Lord, placing his feet over the head of death.
अथात्रापितिहासोऽयं श्रुतो मे वर्णितः पुरा ब्रह्मणा देवदेवेन देवानामनुपृच्छताम्.
This history of the fight between the Lord as a boar and the demon Hiranyaksh was heard by me in a year long ago, as it was described by the foremost of the demigods, Brahma, when he was questioned by other demigods.
Brilliant. So we can take a little pause there. So this chapter is called Pregnancy of Diti in the Evening. And first 7 chapters, well, Vidur, he's curious to hear why Lord Varaha killed the demon Hiranyaksha while rescuing the earth. And that question very much pleased Maitri Rishi, who described the history of the demon's birth. And one point he made while answering Vidur was that when Narad Muni was inquired by Dhruv Maharaj about the pastimes of the Lord, and Narad Muni, Maitri Rishi explains that asking such questions and hearing the answers enabled Dhruv Maharaj to step on the head of death. So normally death comes and snatches those who die, the living entity who is leaving the body. But for the devotees, death comes in order to lend a hand to go back to Godhead. So death works in both ways. So to those who are sinful, death punishes. To those who are devoted, death serves. So it's a really interesting point. So then he describes the history of the demon's birth. So let's go to, now it's up to text 15, Mataji.
दीतिर्दाक्षायणी क्षत्तर्मारीचं कश्यपं पतिम् अपत्य कामाचकमे सन्ध्यायां हृच्छयार्दिता.
Diti, daughter of Daksh, being afflicted with sex desire, begged her husband Kashyap, the son of Marichi, to have intercourse with her in the evening in order to beget a child.
इष्टवाङ्गी जिह्वं पयशा पुरुषं यजुषां पतिं निम्लोचति अर्काशीनम् अग्नियगारे समाहितम्.
The sun was setting, and sage was sitting in trance after offering oblations to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, whose tongue is the sacrificial fire.
दितिरुवाच एष मां त्वत्कृते विद्वन् काम आत सरासनः दुनोति दिनां विक्रम्य रम्भामिव मतङ्गजः.
In that place, the beautiful Didi expressed her desire. O learned one, Cupid is taking his arrows and distressing me forcibly, as a mad elephant troubles a banana tree.
Tadbhavan dahyamanayam sapatninam samriddhibhihi prajavatinam bhadram te mayyankuptam anugraham.
Therefore, you should be kind towards me by showing me complete mercy. I desire to have sons, and I am much distressed by seeing the opulence of my co-wives. By performing this act, you will become happy.
Bhartari aptorumananam lokana vishate yashah patir bhavat vidho yasham prajayananujayate.
A woman is honored in the world by the benediction of a husband, and husband like you will become famous by having children because you are meant for the expansion of living entities.
Pura pitano bhagavan daksho duhitra vatsalah kam varnita varam vatsa iti aprichchata nah prithak.
In days long ago, our father, the most opulent Daksh, who was affectionate to his daughters, asked each of us separately whom we would prefer to select as our husband.
Saviditvatmajanamno bhavam santana bhavanah त्रयोदशाददाताशां याष्टे शिलम् अनुव्रताः.
Our well-wishing father, Daksh, after knowing our intentions, handed over 13 of his daughters unto you, and since then we have all been faithful.
Atha me kuru kalyanam kamam kamalalochana artopasarpanam bhuman amogham hi mahiyashi.
O lotus-eyed one, kindly bless me by fulfilling my desire. When someone in distress approaches a great person, his pleas should never go in vain.
Thank you. Fantastic. Hare Krishna, Shruti.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Good to you back.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I would be happy for Shruti Mataji to continue.
Oh no, Mataji, you've been chanting beautifully. We're listening. We
She
love to
has.
listen to it.
She's chanted amazingly. In your absence,
It's amazing. The pronunciation, I don't know, everything's perfect. It's
Oh, Hare
beautiful.
Krishna Mataji, not
Hare
really.
Krishna, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
I
so I'm
always
going to let you two fight it out, okay? But both of you are amazing. So we're so blessed.
The Lord is kind.
Yes, for sure. So in this part of in this section of this chapter, Daksha, one of the Prajapatis, gave 13 of his daughters in marriage to Kashyap Muni. And one of the daughters was Diti. Another one is Aditi. And Aditi is the mother of the demigods, and Diti is the mother of the demons. So it's a real contradiction, contrast. Anyway, Diti approaches her husband, Kashyap Muni, at an improper time. And Kashyap Muni is one of the Saptarishis, a very powerful personality. But she approaches him at improper time to procreate so that they can have children. The reason was her co-wives already had offspring and she felt poorer than them, which is natural. If the 12 sisters have children and yet one of them is childless, obviously she'll feel a little bit deficient. But unfortunately, she asked at the wrong time. The sun was setting And the sage was in trance at that time because he just offered his evening oblations to the Supreme Lord. So up to 29, text number 29, please.
Can I continue, Prabhuji, or?
Oh yeah, I mean, as
Mataji.
yes, go for it, go for it. Good
Thank
to
you.
hear.
It's good to be back. Hare Krishna. इति तां वीरमारीचः कृपणां बहुभाषिणीं प्रत्याहानुनयन् वाचा प्रवृद्धानङ्गकश्मलाम्.
O hero Vidur, Diti, being thus afflicted by the contamination of lust, and therefore poor and talkative, was pacified by the son of Marichi in suitable words.
एष तेऽहं विधास्यामि प्रियं भीरो यद् इच्छसि तस्या कामं न कः कुर्यात् सिद्धिस्त्रैवर्गिकी यतः.
O afflicted one, I shall forthwith gratify whatever desire is dear to you. For who else but you is the source of the three perfections of liberation?
सर्वाश्रमान् उपादाय स्वाश्रमेण कलत्रवान् व्यसनार्णवम् अत्येति जलयानैर्यथार्णवम्.
As one can cross over the ocean with sea-going vessels, one can cross the dangerous situation of the material ocean by living with a wife.
याम् आहुरात्मनो ह्यर्धम् श्रेयस्कामस्य मानिनी यस्यां स्वधूरम् अध्यस्य पुमांश्चरति विज्वरः.
O respectful one, a wife is so helpful that she is called the better half of a man's body because of her sharing in all auspicious activities. A man can move without anxiety, entrusting all responsibilities to his wife.
याम् आश्रित्येन्द्रियारातीन् दुर्जयान् इतराश्रमैः वयं जयेमहे लाभिर्दस्यून् दुर्गपतिर्यथा.
As a fort commander very easily conquers invading plunderers, by taking shelter of a wife, one can conquer the senses, which are inconquerable in the other social orders.
न वयं प्रभवस्तं त्वाम् अनुकर्तुं गृहेश्वरी अप्यायुषा वाक्कार्त्स्न्येन ये चान्ये गुणगृध्नवाः.
O Queen of the home, we are not able to act like you, nor could we repay you for what you have done, even if we work for entire life or even after death. To repay you is not possible, even for those who are admirers of personal qualities.
अथापि कामम् एतं ते प्रजात्यैकरवाण्यलम् यथा मां नातिरोचन्ति मुहूर्तं प्रतिपालय.
Even though it is not possible to repay you, I shall satisfy your sex desire immediately for the sake of begetting children. But you must wait for only a few seconds so that others may not reproach me.
एषा घोरतमा वेला घोराणां घोरदर्शना चरन्ति यस्यां भूतानि भूतेशानुचराणिह.
This particular time is most inauspicious because at this time the horrible looking ghosts and constant companions of the Lord of the Ghosts are visible.
एतस्यां साध्विसन्ध्यायां भगवान् भूतभावनः परीतो भूतपर्षद्भिर्वृषेणातति भूतरात्.
Lord Shiva, the king of the ghosts, sitting on the back of his bull carrier, travels at this time, accompanied by ghosts who follow him for their welfare.
श्मशानचक्रानिलधूलिधूम्र विकीर्णविद्युतजटाकलापः भस्मावगुण्ठामलरुक्मदेहो देवस्त्रिभिः पश्यति देवरस्ते.
Lord Shiva's body is reddish and he is unstained, but he is covered with ashes. His hair is dusty from the whirlwind dust of the burning crematorium. He is the younger brother of your husband, and he sees with his 3 eyes.
यस्यानवद्याचरितं मनीषिणो गृह्णन्त्यविद्यापटलं बिभित्सवः.
Verse 26.
Okay. Sorry.
That's okay.
नयन्स्य लोके स्वजनः परो वा नात्यादृतो नोत कश्चिद् विगर्ह्य वयं व्रतैर्यच्चरणापविद्धाम् आशास्महे जाम्बत भुक्तभोगाम्.
Lord Shiva regards no one as his relative, yet Lord Shiva regards no one as his relative, yet there is no one who is not connected with him. He does not regard anyone as very favorable or abominable. We respectfully worship the remnants of his foodstuff, and we vow to accept what is rejected by him.
यस्यानवद्याचरितं मनीषिणो गृह्णन्त्यविद्यापटलं बिभित्सवः निरस्तसाम्यातिशयोऽपि यत्स्वयं पिशाचचर्याम् अचरद्गतिः सताम्.
Although no one in the material world is equal to or greater than Lord Shiva, and although his unimpeachable character is followed by great souls to dismantle the mass of nescience, he nevertheless remains as if a devil to give salvation to all devotees of the Lord.
हसन्ति यस्याचरितं हि दुर्भगाः स्वात्मन् रतस्या विदुषः समीहितं यैर्वस्त्रमाल्याभरणानुलेपनैः स्वभोजनं स्वात्मतयोपलालितम्.
We can't hear you, Punamadaji. Okay.
Sorry, Prabhuji, I read the whole thing on mute. I'll read again, yeah. Unfortunate foolish persons, not knowing that he is engaged in his own self, laugh at him. Such foolish persons engaged in maintaining the body, which is eatable by dogs, with dresses, ornaments, garlands, and ointments.
ब्रह्मादयो यत्कृतसेतुपाला यत्कारणं विश्वम् इदं च माया अज्ञाकरीयस्य पिशाचचर्या अहो विभूम्नश्चरितं विडम्बनम्.
Demigods like Brahma also follow the religious rites observed by him. He is the controller of the material energy, which causes the creation of the material world. He is great, and therefore his devilish characteristics are simply imitation.
Thank you. This is an amazing description of Lord Shiva. Okay, so Kashyap Muni said to his wife, who is the better half, of course, and we all know that. The ladies are a lot more grounded. The men are all over the place, but the ladies always bring them down to earth and get things done. And the support actually of the wife to the husband is very crucial to the husband, much more than the other way around. Usually the wife is doesn't need so much support. She's offering the support to the husband. So the role of the female is very, very crucial in a relationship of a marriage. And not to be underestimated. Sometimes the role of the mothers or the ladies is diminished, but actually their role is such an important, because they actually make the husband, and they also are making the future generation. So it's said in the scriptures, Matri Devo Bhava. There's a reason for that, and why it's before Pitri Devo Bhava. So we should never underestimate the power of the females. Very, very powerful indeed. Much more powerful, I would say, than the men, generally speaking. And if you know, the example is when there's some religious activity going on, usually you find the ladies participating very nicely, and the men are outside smoking, or gossiping, or something ridiculous. So anyway, Kashyap Muni said to his wife, he will satisfy her desire, but she should wait for the auspicious time, which was only 1 murta away. And he gave various reasons. If we don't follow the practices of regulative sex life, then others will reproach him, because he's also great sage. He's one of the Saptarishis. He's a Brahmrishi. He's Brahma's Manasaputra, one of his mind-born sons. He's no ordinary person. Kashyap Muni is one of the greatest rishis ever existed. So they will blame me for what's going to happen. Ghosts and their master, Lord Shiva, move about at this inauspicious time. So early mornings, not early morning, before sunrise. In fact, 2 murtas before sunrise. That's when before Brahma Murta, the ghosts are moving around. Anybody who's engaged in any illicit activities, they possess them at that time. So it's not a good time. It's not a good time to procreate. And just because Lord Shiva is giving association to the ghosts doesn't mean he's a ghost. He's very auspicious, even though he is dealing with inauspicious characters. But he himself is extremely auspicious. Also, Kashyap Muni advises that don't forget, he's also, Lord Shiva is your brother-in-law, because the father of Diti is Daksha. And Daksha also had a daughter who's a sister of Diti called Sati. Sati married Shiva. And this Shiva, although you may be thinking, it's okay, he's my brother, he won't do anything. No, he's got 3 eyes. He can see everywhere. He can see us. He can see everything. And he's equal to all, so don't expect any favors from him. Lord Shiva is known as Ashutosh, which means he's very easily pleased, but he can be also very easily angered. So we should be exemplary in our behavior, especially because Lord Shiva will be witnessing what happens. And he is a very, very unique personality. Fools who pamper their bodies that are eatable by dogs, which disrespect Lord Shiva. Even Lord Brahma accepts the rules and regulations set by Shiva. Even Brahma is subordinate to Shiva. So we should be mindful that this is not the right time. These are really very interesting discussions and explanations by Kashyap Muni, especially the characteristics of Lord Shiva. He lives in like inauspicious places, cemeteries, covers himself with ashes. But that's only to make himself accessible to those that others have abandoned. Nobody cares for the ghosts and the hobblings and the crazy guys. But Lord Shiva does. This is why he even looks inauspicious, behaves inauspiciously sometimes, if you like. But that's not him. That's the covering. That's artificial. That's only so that he can give shelter to those nobody cares about. This is a real Vaishnav. This is a real greatest Vaishnav ever existed, Lord Shiva. So now let's up to 43. So
Sorry, Prabhuji, one comment.
yes, yes.
If we go to the previous slide, in the last point, those who pamper the bodies, with with ointments and dresses, and half of the UK is doomed to be eaten by dogs then.
Wow, yeah, indeed. Not just Britain, the whole world. One example is Nehru, Jawaharlal Nehru, who was first prime minister. When he died, the astrologers, they made a prediction that actually now his next birth is a dog in Sweden.
But that's a good country to be born in as a dog also,
Probably better than the human. Yeah. In the UK, the dogs are treated better than babies.
Yeah. For his karma, okay, we'll get political there. Yeah, I am not saying anything.
Yeah, but this is a fair point that if we simply looking after our bodies, ultimately they're just the body is just going to disappear into the ether. It's going to be burned or buried, and it'll be a total waste. And we are looking after the body as if it's all in all, but it's nothing. This is the point that Kashyap Muni is making. Not knowing, what's this? Unfortunate, foolish persons not knowing that he's engaged in his own self, laugh at him. Such foolish person engages in maintaining the body, which is eatable by dogs, with dresses, ornaments, garlands, ointment. We're thinking this, look in the mirror and this is, I'm so handsome. But we don't understand this body is actually already dead. It's just made of earth, water, fire, air, ether. It's already dead. The soul is giving it, making it look like it's alive. But it's the soul which is what needs to be looked after, not the body. Another example given in the scriptures is how if we've got a bird in a cage and we're always looking after the cage, making sure it's clean and tidy, but we forget about the bird in the cage, the bird will die. So similarly, if we're always looking after the body, the cage, without looking after the thing that's in the cage, the bird in the cage, the soul in the body, what's going to happen? We're going to be more and more stuck in this material world. So very, very interesting philosophy by Kashyap Muni. It's a little hard to digest, but it's very, very true. Is that okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, sure. Thank you.
Okay. So now we're doing how many verses? Up to 40. Let me just have a look. Sorry. Oh.
30 to 43, I think. Prabhuji.
Yeah, 43. That's right. Yeah. My system just crashed. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Maitreya uvacha Saivam samvidite bhartra Manmathonmathitendriya Jagrahavaso brahmarsher Vrishalivagatatra.
Maitreya said that he was thus informed by her husband, but she was pressed by Cupid for sexual satisfaction. She caught hold of the clothing of the great Brahmin sage, just like a shameless public prostitute.
Saviditvath bharyayas tam nirbandham vikarmani natvadishtaya rahasi tayathopaviveshahi.
You're on mute again, I think.
Oh, sorry, Prabhuji. Yeah. Understanding his wife's purpose, he was obliged to perform the forbidden act, and thus, after offering his obeisances unto worshipable fate, he lay with her in a secluded place.
अथोपस्पृश्य सलिलं प्राणानायम्य वाग्यतः ध्यायन् जजाप विरजं ब्रह्मज्योतिः सनातनम्.
Thereafter, the Brahman took his bath in the water and controlled his speech by practicing trance, meditating on the eternal effulgence and chanting the holy Gayatri hymns within his mouth.
दित्तिस्तु व्रीदिता तेन कर्मावद्येन भारत उपसङ्गम्य विप्रर्षिम् अधोमुख्यभ्यभाषत.
O son of the Bharat family, Diti, after this, went nearer to her husband. Her face lowered because of a faulty action. She spoke as follows.
दितिरुवाच न मे गर्भम् इमं ब्रह्मन् भूतानां वृषभो वधीत् रुद्रः पतिर्हि भूतानां यस्याकरमम् अंहसम्.
The beautiful Diti said, My dear Brahman, kindly see that my embryo is not killed by Lord Shiva, the Lord of all living entities, because of the great offense I have committed against him.
नमो रुद्राय महते देवायोग्राय मीधुषे शिवाय न्यस्तदण्डाय धृतदण्डाय मन्यवे.
Let me offer my obeisances unto the angry Lord Shiva, who is simultaneously the very ferocious great demigod and the fulfiller of all material desires. He is all auspicious and forgiving, but his anger can immediately move him to chastise.
स नः प्रसीदतां भामो भगवान् ऊर्वनुग्रहः व्याधस्याप्यनुकम्प्यानां स्त्रीणां देवः सतीपतिः.
Let him be pleased with us, since he is my brother-in-law, the husband of my sister Sati. He is also the worshipable lord of all women. He is the personality of all opulences and can show mercy towards women who are excused even by the uncivilized hunters.
मैत्रेय उवाच स्वसर्गस्याशिषं लोक्याम् आशासानां प्रवेपतीं निवृत्तसन्ध्यानियमो भार्याम् आह प्रजापतिः.
Maitreya said, The great sage Kashyap thus addressed his wife, who was trembling because of fear that her husband was offended. She understood that he had been dissuaded from his daily duties of offering evening prayers, yet she desired the welfare of her children in the world.
कश्यप उवाच अप्रायत्याद् आत्मनस्ते दोषान्मौहूर्तिकात् उत मन्निदेशातिचारेण देवानां चातिहेलनात्.
The learned Kashyap said, Because of your minds being polluted, because of defilement of the particular time, because of your negligence of my directions, and because of your apathetic to demigods, everything was inauspicious.
भविष्यतस्तव भद्रा अभद्रे जाठराधमौ लोकान् सपालां स्त्रींश्चण्डी मुहुर् आक्रन्दयिष्यतः.
O haughty one, you will have two contemptuous sons born of your condemned womb. Unlucky woman, they'll cause constant lamentation to all the three worlds.
प्राणिनां हन्यमानानां दीनानाम् अकृतागसां स्त्रीणां निगृह्यमाणानां कोपितेषु महात्मसु.
They will kill poor, faultless living entities, torture women, and enrage the great souls.
तदा विश्वेश्वर क्रुद्धो भगवान् लोकभावनः हमिष्यत्यवतीर्यासौ यथाद्रींशतपर्वधृक्.
At that time, the Lord of the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the well-wisher of all living entities, will descend and kill them, just as Indra smashes the mountains with his thunderbolts.
दितिरुवाच वधं भगवता साक्षात् सुनाभोदारबाहुना आशासे पुत्रयोर्मह्यं मा क्रुद्धात् ब्राह्मणात् प्रभो.
Diti said, "It is very good that my sons will be magnanimously killed by the arms of the personality of Godhead with his Sudarshan weapon. O my husband, may they never be killed by the wrath of the Brahman devotees."
न ब्रह्मदण्डदग्धस्य न भूत भयदस्य च नारकाश्चानुगृह्णन्ति यां यां योनिम् असौ गतः.
A person who is condemned by a Brahman or is always fearful to other living...
Oops, sorry, wrong button.
No, Swamiji.
Go for it. Sorry.
A person who is condemned by a Brahman or is always fearful to other living entities is not favored either by those who are already in hell or by those in the species in which he is born.
Powerful statements. Okay. Oops. What's happened here? Okay. Got that. So, Kashyap Muni makes some predictions here. Unable to calm Diti, Kashyap submits. Immediately afterwards, Diti feels ashamed. She's realized, oof, this is going to have some heavy consequences. She begs her husband to protect the child. Don't let Shiva to kill him. Don't let him kill him. Kashyap describes everything was inauspicious. The mind was polluted. The timing was wrong. Neglected his directions. There was apathy towards the demigods. So everything was wrong. So this is very instructive, actually, that the consciousness when this conception takes place is very important. That's why there is something called Garbhadan Samskar, because the idea is that the husband and the wife have a very purified state of mind at the time of conceiving, so that it gives the opportunity for a great soul to enter the sperm of the man into the womb of the woman. So this is why the scriptures are very prescriptive about the conception process. They recommend this Garbhadan Samskar, and that involves many, many things. Nowadays in Kali Yuga, it's the chanting of the holy names is very important. Reading of the scriptures, especially Ramayana, very, very important. And what that will do is bring the state of the mind, the consciousness, to a level where it can accept a great soul, a good soul, to enter into this world. So, but in this situation, Kashyap Muni explained, everything was wrong, everything was inauspicious. And he also predicted that 2 sons will be born to you and me. And they will be constantly afflicting this 3 worlds. They'll be killing innocent and sinless living entities. They will torture women. Any society, any person who takes advantage of the ladies, women, and the children, that is a demoniac personality, demoniac society. These are persons to be protected, not to be harmed in any way, mentally, physically, psychologically, in any way. They should never be given any difficulties. So any society that tolerates child abuse, abuse towards women, females, is really to be condemned. They should not exist. They should not be allowed to exist, because this is a very indicative of Kali Yuga's attitude. And Kali Yuga attitude means no God consciousness. So have to really guard very, very carefully against such behavior, extremely carefully against such behavior. It enrages the great souls when these things are in place. The great souls will not give their blessings. They will not be happy. And Kashyap Muni predicts they'll be killed by the Supreme Lord. And Aditi is very pleased actually. Yes, it's good. If the Lord kills my sons, because she knows if the Lord uses his Sudarshan Chakra, her children will be actually protected, because the Lord can never do any wrong. When he kills, he doesn't kill, he protects. But then she also said, may they never be killed by Brahman devotees. That would be very, very bad for my children. Even the residents of hell do not favor these souls. Even those who are demoniac don't care for those the devotees have rejected and killed. So please, let the Lord kill them. Yes, they may be inauspicious. What to do? So let the Lord kill them. So Diti was pretty fixed, I would say. So now it's up to the end.
Okay, Prabhuji. Kashyap uvacha कृतशोकानुतापेन सद्यः प्रत्यवमर्शनात् भगवत्युरुमानाच्च भवे मय्यपि चादरात् पुत्रस्यैव च पुत्राणां भवितैकः सतां मतः गास्यन्ति यद्यशः शुद्धं भगवद्यशसा समम्.
The learned Kashyap said, because of your lamentation, penitence, and proper deliberation, and also because of your unflinching faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and your adoration for Lord Shiva and me, one of the sons, Prahlad, of your son Hiranyakashipu, will be an approved devotee of the Lord, and his fame will be broadcast equally with that of the Personality of Godhead.
योगैर्हेमेव दुर्वर्णं भावायिष्यन्ति साधवः निर्वैरादिभिरात्मानं यच्चीलम् अनुवर्तितुम्.
In order to follow in his footsteps, saintly persons will try to emulate his character by practicing freedom from animosity, just as the purifying processes rectify gold of inferior quality.
यत् प्रसादाद् इदं विश्वं प्रसीदति यदात्मकं सस्वदृग्भगवान् यस्य तोष्यते नन्ययादृशा.
Everyone will be pleased with him because the personality of Godhead, the supreme controller of the universe, is always satisfied with the devotee who does not wish for anything beyond him.
स वै महाभागवतो महात्मा महानुभावो महता महिष्ठः प्रवृद्धभक्त्या ह्यनुभाविताशये निवेश्य वैकुण्ठम् इमं विहास्यति.
That topmost devotee of the Lord will have explained intelligence and expanded influence and will be the greatest of the great souls. Due to mature devotional service, he will certainly be situated in transcendental ecstasy and will enter the spiritual sky after quitting this material world.
अलं पटः शीलधरो गुणाकरो हृष्टः परर्ध्याव्यतितो दुःखितेषु अभूतशत्रुर्जगतः शोकहर्ता नैदाघिकं तापं विबोधुराजः.
He will be a virtuously qualified reservoir of all good qualities. He'll be jolly and happy in others' happiness, distressed in others' distress, and will have no enemies. He'll be a destroyer of the lamentation of all the universes, like the pleasant moon after the summer sun.
अन्तर्बहिश्चामलम् अब्जनेत्रम् स्वपूरुषेच्छानुगृहीतरूपम् पौत्रस्तव श्रीललनाललामम् द्रष्टा सुरत्कुण्डलमण्डिताननम्.
Your grandson will be able to see inside and outside the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose wife is the beautiful goddess of fortune. The Lord can assume the form desired by the devotee, and his face is always beautifully decorated with earrings.
मैत्रेय उवाच श्रुत्वा भागवतं पौत्रम् अमोदतदितिर्भृशम् पुत्रयोश्च वधं कृष्णात् विदित्वासीन्महामनाः. हरे कृष्ण.
The sage Maitreya said, hearing that her grandson would be a great devotee and that her sons would be killed by Krishna, Diti was highly pleased in mind. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Fantastic. So the end of this chapter is extremely auspicious. Even the rest may not be so auspicious. Because of Diti's sincere repentance, proper deliberation, and unflinching faith in the Lord, and respect for Shiva and her husband, the son of her son. So her son is going to be Hiranyakashipu, great demon, but his son is Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj would be a very great Mahabhagavat devotee who will please all. And Prahlad Maharaj is actually described in the Bhagavatam extensively. So here is the beginning. There's a few chapters just dedicated to his exemplary character and behavior. And I think everybody here will know to some degree Prahlad Maharaj's character. To say that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would recite, would speak with Gadadhar Pandit for hours and hours every single day. And their main topic of conversation was Prahlad. They would talk about the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 7th canto. They would discuss it over and over and over and simply talk about Prahlad. Srila Prabhupada, he spent volumes of books, volumes of pages talking about Prahlad Maharaj. Our Guru Maharaj, he loved Prahlad Maharaj. He would glorify Prahlad Maharaj for hours on end. Why? This devotee was so great that even though he was put under such difficult conditions by his father, never did he ever pray for protection from the Lord. He would simply be engaged in Bhagavad Bhakti. And his main form of bhakti was chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And preaching. He would preach to his school friends. He was only a 5-year-old boy, but yet he was Maha-Bhagavat. They put him in such horrible conditions, boiling oil, fire, under elephants, in snake pits. But he would never think badly of anybody. He was equal to all. He would think, oh, my father's just playing with me. His father was trying to kill him. But never did he say, my dear Lord, please protect me. No, he always was under the protection of the Lord because of his constant meditation of the Lord. But he never asked for it. And the Lord always protected him in every situation. So hence why Prahlad Maharaj is regarded to be one of the greatest devotees of the Lord. And when Nrsingadev finally appeared and killed Hiranyakashipu, he was still fuming. And the devatas who were standing perhaps a mile away from Nrsingadev because he was so ferocious, they couldn't stand to be close to him. They were wondering, why is Nrsingadev still angry? He's killed Hiranyakashipu. Why is he angry? The reason he was angry was, he said to them, where were you when my devotee was being persecuted? You were all running for your life. But my 5-year-old boy, what was happening to him? Who was caring for him? So Nrsingadev was still fuming. Even with the devatas, he was still angry. Where were you when my devotee needed protection? You were caring for your own bodies. So then Brahma said to Lakshmi Devi, go and appease the Lord, he's angry. Lakshmi Devi said, I don't recognize him. He's not my husband. And then Brahma was very clever. He said to Prahlad Maharaj, you go and appease the Lord. So Prahlad Maharaj went very close to the Lord, who was still angry. But when he saw Prahlad, he became completely pacified. To the extent that the Lord would ask Prahlad, what do you want? I want to give you something. And Prahlad would say, nothing, I don't want anything. And Nrsingadev would insist, I want to give you something. Okay, if you want to give me something, protect my father. Hiranyakashipu just was killed. Protect my father. And Nrsingadev said, well, he's already protected, don't worry. In fact, 20 generations of your family, including your mother and father, are already liberated. Ask for something else. That's already done. Okay, Paratma said, you want to give me something else? Let everybody come back to you, to Godhead. There's so many of them, and there's only one of me. Let me stay here and suffer their karma. And that actually broke Nrsingadev. He started crying. How can my devotee ask for something like that? And the devatas, they were saying, hey, look, Prahlad Maharaj has made Nrsingadev cry. So this is the devotee controls the Lord. He controls the Lord because of his love for him. So when Diti heard this, she was ecstatic. Yes, my grandson is going to be a pure devotee, a Maha-Bhagavat. She was happy. So this shows the character of Diti, character of Kashyap Muni as well. So I wanted to finish there. Anybody with any comments or any questions?
Prabhuji,
Yes.
so did Diti Mata have more children than 2? I think she had also like 100 asuras.
She was the mother of the demons. She had a lot of children.
Yeah, because I thought she had somewhere, I don't know, roughly the figure is 100 that is stuck in my head. I could be wrong, but
probably more. But yeah, there was lots. Lots of the demons came from her. Unfortunately for her, but then she her sister Aditi had Vamandev, and who purifies the whole family. Of course, Prahlad was there. So, but yeah, no, she was mother of many children.
But that's sad for her, for no fault of hers.
She's glorious because of Prahlad. She's glorious. She's more glorious than Aditi, I would say. She's more glorious because Prahlad is one of the greatest personalities. You know, he was such an amazing, and he was such an inspiration. And if it wasn't for Prahlad, Nrsingadev would never have appeared. And Nrsingadev is so important to the devotees. So Prahlad is held in very high regard, and his grandmother is Diti. So she's glorious.
Nice way of putting it. Yep. Thanks, Prabhuji.
No, it's amazing. No, thank you so much, Punamalaji. And thank you, Lena, for beautiful darshan. I haven't seen for a few weeks. So let's have a
All Krishna's mercy, Prabhuji, as usual.
definitely, and your kindness. So thank you. Beautiful,
Oh,
magnificent. Oh, so Inder, anything you'd like to share, please?
Hare Krishna, Dandavat everybody. Yes, Prabhu, Sri Nityananda Chandram, Patita Sharanadam, Gauradam Tam Bhajeham. Yes, a lot of teaching in this Srimad Bhagavatam Katha. And mention about Lord Shiva, who is Vaishnavanam Yatha Sambhu, one of the great Vaishnavas in his category, servant of Shri Krishna. So it is mentioned among the 10 offenses to the holy name is one of the topmost offense is to commit Vaishnava aparad. And this is a mud elephant offense as described by Gauranga Mahaprabhu in teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Just like a mud elephant enters a garden and destroys and uproots all the plants. Similarly, this type of offense, Vaishnava aparad, can uproot the creeper of devotion. So this is to be strictly avoided, Vaishnava aparad. Rather, we should do Vaishnava seva. So Lord Shiva should be, we respect and honor Lord Shiva, and we can offer prayers to Lord Shiva as follows. Ohe Vaishnava Thakura Doyara Sagara Edashe Kuruna Kori. Like that, ask, beg for some mercy. Diya pada chaya sodohe amaya tomara charana dhuri. Chaya bega domi chaya dosha shodhi chaya guna deho dase. Chaya satsanga deho he amare bosechi sangera che. Like that, because Lord Shiva is Vaishnava Thakura, he will be very pleased and help us in our Krishna consciousness. There are examples in Srimad Bhagavatam whereby Lord Shiva gave instructions to the 10 prachetas, the sons of Prachana Birhi, Prachani Birhi, yes, Prachana Bhai, I forgot now his pronunciation.
Prachetas.
Prachana, yeah, the
Oh,
Prachetas.
the Prachetas, yeah.
Pracha, the son of
Prachani Barhi.
Yeah, Prachana Bahi, yes, like that. So similarly, if we address Lord Shiva because he's Lord Vaishnavam Yathasambhu, he will bless us with his mercy so that we can practice our Krishna consciousness very nicely without committing any offense to anybody. Like that. So similarly, not only Lord Shiva, but all the demigods, they're in fact the servants of Lord Krishna. So we should be respectful to all the demigods because they are devotees of Lord Krishna. So there is a verse over here. It says, even the lowest of men are liberated by surrender. O twice born, persons who are devoid of all virtuous practices, who are outcasts, rogues, deceitful, audacious, egotistic, addicted to intoxicants, hotbeds of sin, malicious, cruel-natured, grossly infatuated with son, wife, wealth, etc. Even such extremely fallen persons are liberated by surrendering unto the lotus feet of Sri Govinda. Like that. So surrender is parama, sharanagati, mood. In this mood of Saranagati, we will practice our Krishna consciousness. And there is another verse, according to Vedic injunction, who acts out his worldly function, that soul takes birth again and again, according to my previous action, or your divine predilection. If another birth for me does remain, then just one thing I have to say. Oh, hear me, Lord, if you may, if within the home of your devotee, I may be born in an insect body, that cannot but be your mercy. In my heart, I'll be ever happy. Devoid of your devotee's company, in an ignorant non-devotee's family, to be born as even Brahma, the creator. For that, O Lord, I'll never ask you. With folded hands now before you, this is the earnest prayer of your servitor, Shri Krishna. Nitai Gaura Haribol. These are some of the prayers in Sharanagati. Hare
yeah,
Krishna
very
Prabhu,
good.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Very, very nice.
Thank you.
He's such an amazing person, Lord Shiva. So anyway, we're going to discuss him in a little bit more detail on Monday, I think, because we're looking at the series on Devatas at the moment. So we'll go through that. Anybody else? Anything else? Otherwise, we can close today. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Shruti. She's not with us. Thank you, Anandalila, and Surinder, Purnamataji, Neela.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you,
Thank you.
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Hare